You are Locked On Braves POSTCAST, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, your team every day.
Into the Braves postcast, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. Grant McAuley and Jake Mastroianni with you after a disappointing night for the Atlanta Braves, who had a chance to not only win 3 games in a row for the first time all season, but to take a series, a 4-game series at that, from the Philadelphia Phillies, an NL East rival. But Aaron Nola had different plans on this night as he handcuffed the Braves bats, and the Phillies were able to get just enough offense to grab a 4-1 victory on this night. We got a lot to talk about as far as that's concerned. We'll, of course, get you set for the weekend series in which the Miami Marlins are going to be coming into town. Before we do, though, I want to let you know that the Braves Postcast is part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta, and make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page. We are approaching 1,500 subscribers. We appreciate you if you are one, and if you're not, we're inviting you to go ahead, click the bell, subscribe, get notifications, all that good stuff, and make sure you subscribe to Locked On Braves, where you can get all the great postcast coverage we do here and all the great things that Jake has for you all season long, keeping you covered on all things Braves. On this night, it felt like more all things Phillies, did it not, Jake? Because Aaron Nola he looked about as good as it gets.
Yeah, Braves had a chance early, but after that, it was pretty much over as far as Aaron Nola goes. He shut things down, and some add-on runs late for the Phillies, and just not the Braves' night.
No, it was not. I mean, and you kind of have to look at Kyle Wright's night and say, man, he deserved better, and he certainly did. But sometimes it is just the mound opponent that is just a little bit better. And Aaron Nola on this particular evening had his A game. He pitched into the 9th inning, was flirting with that shutout. It didn't actually end until he was out of the game in the 9th inning when the Braves finally dented the scoreboard and got on the board with their one and only run of the night. Let's talk about this, though. Game number 45 of the season, the 4th and final game of the series against the Phillies. Both these clubs are now 21 and 24 after this, so they are still tied exactly as they were in the NL East standings, just 2 games apiece for each of these clubs. Phillies 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors, 4 men left on base. Braves a run on 5 hits, no errors, 6 men left aboard. Aaron Nola picks up the win. He is now 2-4 on the year. Kyle Wright taking the loss drops to 4-3, and there was no save in a game that lasted 2 hours and 43 minutes, and a crowd of 33,188 were on hand to see it. So kind of a tough night in general, of course, for the Braves offense. But then when you look at Kyle Wright's line, as he went 6 2/3 innings, he only allowed 3 hits on the night, 3 runs. All of them were earned, a couple of walks and 5 strikeouts for him. He did allow 1 home run to JT Realmuto early on, but the 2 runs that scored off of him late that were charged to him were courtesy of inherited runners that Will Smith allowed to come across and score. But when I look at this line, I know that from watching Kyle Wright on this evening, and it was really a hit batsman that created a problem in that 7th and got him in more trouble than Brian Snitker was going to let him work out of. But it was just one of those nights where the eye test and the line score don't exactly match.
Yeah, he was really good. And that's the bummer of it, is that those inherited runners come in to score, and it really kind of messes up that final line. And that is the game. You want to go ahead and kind of get into it here. Look, he walked Schwarber on 4 pitches. He grazes Realmuto. He's at 92 pitches. Look, I was listening to the post game there on Bally, and they were talking about it, and Peter Moreland saying, I think Kyle Wright's earned the opportunity at this point in the season to prove that he can get out of that inning. Obviously hindsight being what it is, I wish the same. Mm-hmm. But I understand the move to Will Smith. Look, the most pitches Kyle Wright's thrown all year is 97. Like I said, he was at 92 right there. He just walked a guy on 4 pitches and hit a guy, even though it was grazed him.
Yeah.
So I could understand, Snickers thinking that, okay, maybe he's losing it there. Bring in Will Smith, who is your 7th inning guy. My problem is Odubel Herrera has crushed Will Smith. I mean, a pretty good sample size against Will Smith, and I think he was 5 for 8 against him coming into this game. And you bring him in there, and he gets the big hit, and that essentially was the game there. That really decided it. I mean, a 1-0 game. As good as Nola was pitching, you still got a chance to run into one there and tie it up. And once that happened, you just felt like it was over at that point. So, I mean, that was the biggest moment of this game. Unfortunately, Will Smith wasn't able to get the out there and keep it a 1-0 game. And I hate it again for Kyle Wright, because that kind of makes what looks like was a really good outing, makes it look not quite as good.
It just kind of took the shine off of what was overall a really nice night for Kyle Wright until He ran into some trouble there in the seventh. And I kind of agree with you. So I guess in proxy, I agree with Peter Moylan as well, which this wouldn't be the first time that, as much as Kyle Wright's shown you this year, maybe he should have had the opportunity to try to get one more hitter. But you make a lot of good points there, Jake. On the contrary to that, and I'm sure in the thinking of Brian Snitker, well, we're walking guys, we're hitting guys. The last thing he wanted was to have Kyle Wright stay in one hitter too many, give up a 3-run homer. Then all of a sudden this night is just kind of a complete mess. And it feels like Odubel Herrera has been playing for the Phillies for about 15 years because that's how long it feels like he's on my short list of players that always seem to just stick it to the Braves at some point in some game or some series throughout the year. You're going to be calling this guy's name, and it's not going to be because he did something good. So be that as it may, we'll talk a little bit more about this night, particularly for the Braves offense, which was without a couple of key players. Before we do, though, I want to tell you about Rock Auto. As with ever increasing numbers of makes and models out there, it's impossible to find for your local chain to auto parts store to find all the parts that you need. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. You can write Locked On in the How'd You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need at rockauto.com. With that out of the way, let's talk about the Braves offense, which was about as good as I just did on that particular read. Not much to speak of on this night. A run on 5 hits. No Acuna, no Marcell Ozuna. You kind of knew it was going to be tough uphill sledding against Aaron Nola already, but not having those two guys certainly didn't help out.
Yeah, we talked about it last night. The way Aaron Nola over the past couple of years, he could either go out and throw a 7-8 inning shutout, or he could go out and give up 4 runs over 5 innings. And unfortunately, the Braves got the good Aaron Nola on this night. And again, like you said, didn't help that the Braves are missing their leadoff hitter and who's been their number 3 hitter and one of their hottest hitters in Marcell Ozuna. I mean, that's tough to overcome. And yeah, Nola just had it. Like I said, they had chances early in the second inning. They had two on, 1 outs. Adam Duvall hit a ball really hard, a bit unlucky, didn't carry quite as much. So didn't get anything there. They had 2 on with 2 outs in the next inning, and Matt Olson struck out. But after that, that was pretty much it in this game offensively for the Braves. And Olson had a 2-out double later in the game as well. And Riley squared up a ball right before him that wasn't out. So good to see those two hitting the ball hard and that continuing. O'Reilly had a hit. Olson had 2 hits, 2 doubles in the game. The one in the ninth inning off Nola especially, I thought was a really great swing, a pitch right on the inside corner. He was able to pull his hands in and drive it off the right field wall at 102 miles per hour off the bat. So those are some very encouraging signs for Matt Olson in this game. If you're looking for some positives from this lineup, Dansby, another hit. Travis d'Arnaud, who's been cold lately, had some hard hit balls in this one, just wasn't able to get through get down for hits. So again, I think there's some encouraging stuff there. Again, Nola, when he's on, he can be one of the better pitchers in all of baseball. You just got to tip your cap. And again, without 2 of your better hitters in the lineup, you kind of had to figure it could be a tough night for this offense, which is unfortunate because they were really on a roll the first 3 games in this series.
Yeah, and hopefully they can pick up that role. They just ran into a buzzsaw on this night. That final line for Aaron Nola, by the way, 8 1/3 innings, 5 hits, a run. It was earned. It came home on a wild pitch from Corey Knebel that allowed Matt Olson to come across and score. No walks and 10 strikeouts. That tells you a lot about how dialed in Aaron Nola was on this evening, as the Braves did not score their run until there were 2 outs in the ninth inning. And again, it came on a wild pitch. So not really a lot for the Braves to work with on this night. It seems like with Ronald Acuna Jr., they're still playing it day by day. There's a chance he could play in Friday's game. It hasn't been ruled out. As far as Marcell Ozuna, I would expect him to quite possibly be back in the lineup on Friday as well. He had some soreness in his side, so he was a late scratch from the Braves lineup, but he was on deck and would have pinch hit if Adam Duvall was able to reach there in the ninth inning. For Duvall on this night, 0 for 4, Jake. He's down to 195 on the year. His OPS is under 550. He slid over to right field, and Guillermo Heredia got the start in center field. For Adam, I mean, there's so many different guys you can look at different times this year where you think, hey, maybe a day or 2 off and, just something to kind of give him the opportunity to just maybe sit for a minute, slow the game down, step away, and then come back and maybe have, I guess, a fresh set of eyes or just a little bit of a recalibration or reset. Maybe that's something that Brian Snitker will be thinking about at some point. But with the outfield being as thin as it's been, with Ozuna and Acuna both unavailable, well, to play the field anyway, I don't think there's any way Adam Duvall is going to be taking a seat tonight. But with the 0 for 4, sub 200, power numbers aren't there. It's really just been a disappointing 2022 season for Adam Duvall at the plate.
Yeah, honestly, if it weren't for his defense and the need for him in center field, I think he probably gets a day here or there, like you said, just because You don't have Acuna out there in the outfield. You don't want to have Ozuna out there in the outfield. Heredia is striking out 60% of the time at the plate. They've tried RC out there. They've tried Contreras out there. They just unfortunately don't have a ton of guys right now that can play the outfield and play it
No.
well. It's pretty much, him and Heredia right now until hopefully Acuna can prove and get back healthy enough to be out there every day. So the Braves are just going to have to continue to run him out there and hope that the bat comes around. But it's been a huge struggle for him. Hoping maybe you put him in a corner outfield spot, a little bit less demanding defensively. Maybe he can relax a little bit more at the plate. But there's no way to get around it. He's been bad. And that's just plain and simple. And like I said, if not for the need for him defensively, I think you give him some time off to kind of maybe try and reset.
Yeah, and maybe at some point that does come to pass. But as for now, when you're down a couple of outfielders, Travis Demerit has been a non-factor at the plate for a while as well. He's in an 0 for 33 slump, I believe, as of the close of yesterday's game. So not a lot of options for Brian Snitker to work with there. You got to put 3 warm bodies in the outfield. At least that's the smart way to do it if you're a big league club or really a baseball team at any level. You like to have at least 3 outfielders out there, sometimes 4, depending on what league you're in. That's not an option in this one. I'm not sure that the Braves want to play all 4 of their outfielders at any given time because there's been a lot of struggles, a lot of defensive issues. Of course, maybe it'll help, but who knows, because that'll never happen. And we need to take a look at what's going to go on this weekend when the Miami Marlins roll into town. Before we do, though, LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. And did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedonmlb. That's linkedin.com/lockedonmlb to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. All right, how about the terms and conditions of game 1 of a 3-game series against the Miami Marlins? You got to have starting pitchers. It's going to be Ian Anderson on the mound, 3-3, a 4.07 ERA. Trevor Rogers, 2-5, a 5.20. We just saw the Marlins down in Miami. Now this club's up here a week later, and a very familiar pitching matchup, and at least a couple of mound opponents that should be familiar with the lineup they're going to be facing.
Yeah, hopefully the Braves have a couple of big bats back in their lineup. I know they got a Trevor Rogers down in Miami, and this is I don't want to say it's a big game. It's, still, early or late May, but with what the matchup is on Saturday for this series in particular, it's a big game because you got Alcantara versus Tucker Davidson on Saturday. So, you obviously want to get the series off on the right foot. And especially with that matchup on Saturday that doesn't look in your favor, but you never know. So hopefully the bats do pick things back up. They're able to get to Trevor Rogers, get a big win, and hopefully Ian Anderson, continues to throw the ball well. I think he, for the most part, has been really good since those early season struggles. So hopefully that trend continues. The Braves can get back to their winning ways, and maybe they'll win 3 in a row this time, Grant.
Yeah, it would certainly be helpful. If you want to sweep this weekend series, it would make this little homestand a lot more sweet for the Braves. It did split the 4-game series against the Phillies, though, a disappointing 4-1 final in the finale here on Thursday of this 4-game set, as Aaron Nola quite simply had the Braves outmatched, and Kyle Wright was on the the wrong side, rather, of a tough luck loss for him. But again, game 1 of 3 against Miami. It happens at Truist Park on Friday night. 7:20 p.m. is the first pitch time. That's Eastern time at Truist Park, and it's game 1 of 3. Ian Anderson, Trevor Rogers are the expected pitchers in this game. We appreciate you joining us here on the Braves Postcast, part of the all-new Locked On Sports Atlanta. Make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube and to Locked On Braves, wherever you get your podcasts. Once again, the final score, it was the Phillies 4 and the Braves 1 as these two teams split the 4-game series. We look forward to talking to you again on Friday, though, hopefully after another Braves win. For Jake Mastroianni, I'm Grant McAuley. We will talk to you then. So long, everyone.